Fluent Flow podcast. New videos every day. Let's learn English together.
Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're about to embark on a really fascinating mission today. It takes us right into the architecture of learning itself. Usually, we're wading through research papers, dense articles, piles of notes, trying to boil things down. But today, our source material is pretty unique. We're not looking at a new scientific study or like a big geopolitical analysis. Instead, what we have here is an actual script, a really carefully crafted blueprint designed specifically for people taking their absolute first steps in learning English. It's called Fluent Flow Podcast, Episode 17, Conversation for Beginners. And our goal isn't just to understand the conversation, what they're talking about. It's really to deconstruct it, to peel back the layers and figure out how it's actually built to teach. We're going to analyze the specific design choices that make language learning accessible and not just possible, but like genuinely effective.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's so fascinating here, isn't it? How this seemingly simple dialogue, you look at it first and think, okay, pretty straightforward, but it's actually this incredibly thoughtful blueprint for, foundational language acquisition. And this kind of deep dive, it's not just for language learners or teachers, though obviously it's relevant for them. It's really for anyone who's interested in, effective communication or the psychology of learning, or just those pedagogical strategies that can take something complex and make it digestible, make it empowering. We're basically going to pull back the curtain on these subtle techniques they use, things designed to simplify the language, reduce anxiety, and create this accessible, low-pressure kind of learning space. It really is like a masterclass in intentional design, just sort of hidden in plain sight within a simple conversation.
That phrase, intentional design, that's exactly what grabbed me too. You can feel it. There's a purpose behind every word choice, maybe even every pause. So, okay, let's jump right in. Let's analyze the very start of this script. Looking at those opening lines, what immediately strikes you? How does it manage to make a learner feel, comfortable, ready to engage? Especially thinking about, the anxiety a beginner might have starting out in a new language. What are the key things doing that work?
Well, it starts right away with psychological comfort and just crystal clear communication. The script opens with a really direct, warm welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fluent Flow podcast. Now, that's not just like ticking a box. It's a genuine invitation. It sends this immediate signal. You belong here. We expect you. This space is for you. That kind of direct address, the inclusive language, is just so important, especially for beginners who might feel like outsiders, right? It directly tackles what Stephen Krashen called the affective filter, that anxiety barrier. By lowering that filter, the learner is just way more open, more receptive.
The affective filter.
Right.
Yeah. And then right after that warm welcome, you get these simple self-introductions. Emma says, "My name is Emma. I'm from the United States." And Daniel follows with, "Hi, I'm Daniel. Nice to meet you all. I'm so happy to be here." Now, these aren't just lines. They're direct models, actionable models for the learner. Every sentence is short, grammatically simple, uses really common words. Think about it. Name, from, United States, nice to meet you, happy to be here. These are absolute cornerstone phrases for just basic interaction, aren't they? So by giving these clear, repeatable structures, the script offers an immediate win for the learner. They hear it, they understand it, and they instantly see how they could use it themselves. This simplicity, it minimizes the cognitive load. It lets the brain process these basic patterns without getting, swamped. And that builds confidence right away, that sense of, okay, I can do this. It's a first step toward making it automatic.
And it's more than just introduction, isn't it? They immediately build this simple but really crucial personal connection. Daniel asks, "Emma, how are you today?" Emma answers, "I'm doing great, thank you. And you?" That's not just filler. It's actually demonstrating natural turn-taking and using another set of super common, essential phrases. How are you? I'm doing great. Yes. It normalizes asking about well-being, which is, universal in daily English chat. For a beginner, that back and forth is predictable. It's repeatable and really reassuring. It's not just learning words, it's learning the rhythm and the social dance of conversation.
Yeah, exactly. The social choreography, that's a good way to put it. And then, this is really smart, they explicitly state the purpose of the episode. Daniel says, "Let's talk in English, nice and slow, for all our friends who are learning." And Emma confirms, "Yes, let's speak slowly. Today's episode is for beginners." Now, this is just brilliant for managing expectations and providing that psychological safety net. It tells the listener directly, hey, this is for you. We get it. We know what you need, and we're going to speak in a way you can follow.
Yeah.
That explicit mention of speaking slowly, being for beginners, It tackles learner anxiety head on. It validates them, gives them permission to just relax, absorb, not stress about catching every single word immediately. Creates this really safe space cognitively, which just boosts their ability to actually process and learn.
Yeah, you feel like you can let your guard down. And they even give a little preview, too, setting expectations right from the start. Emma says we'll have a simple conversation about life, food, travel, and goals. That transparency, it gives the listener a mental roadmap, doesn't it? Helps them anticipate what's coming, focus their attention better. It's like saying, okay, here's the plan, don't worry. It's all simple stuff, familiar stuff, relatable. So all these pieces together, they build this really supportive, predictable, low-pressure environment. The clear, slow speech, the simple, repeated phrases, it's not just about being understandable, it's meticulously designed to build that core comprehension and confidence without, freaking the learner out. It's a very deliberate, very effective teaching strategy. Really prioritizes learner comfort and step-by-step learning.
It really is a testament to thoughtful design. And that choice to slow the pace, use simpler sentences, it's not just about making it easy to understand. It's actually about helping them actively listen and process the language at a deeper level. For a beginner, processing speed is often a huge hurdle, right? Their brain is working overtime, just trying to pick out words, identify sounds, connect them to meaning. By speaking slowly and clearly, the script gives them that crucial processing time. It lets their auditory system actually distinguish individual words, hear the intonation patterns of English more clearly, which is absolutely vital for understanding, obviously, but also for their own pronunciation later on. It's like giving them mental scaffolding for listening. That pause to breathe and absorb each bit of language before the next one comes. Controlled input, really. Key for building accurate mental maps of the language.
That makes complete sense. So they've built this incredibly solid, welcoming foundation. Okay. How does the script then move from that general welcome into the building blocks of actual conversation? Because they don't just suddenly jump into complex stuff. It feels very incremental, like building with bricks.
Exactly. Brick by brick is a good analogy. This is where the script really cleverly starts building that core conversational toolkit. It does it through these highly structured, reciprocal question and answer patterns designed for immediate use. Daniel kicks it off. Let's start with introductions. What's your name? Emma replies, my name is Emma. What's your name? Then Daniel. My name is Daniel. Nice to meet you, Emma. Huh. Now see, that's not just chit-chat. It's a direct model. It shows how to ask, how to answer, and then crucially, how to ask the same question back. That mirroring of what's your name immediately reinforces the question form and the answer structure, embeds it through repetition and active engagement. And that active part, even just hearing it modeled, is vital for locking it in neurally.
And they do the exact same thing with where are you from? Yeah. Daniel asks, Emma answers, then Daniel gives his answer and asks, and you again.
Precisely. Where are you from? I'm from the United States. I'm from Brazil. And you.
This reciprocal strategy is genuinely smart because it trains the learner not just to understand the question, but also to confidently say the answer, and then critically to ask it back. It encourages active learning by example, mimics real interaction, but in this safe, controlled space. It basically empowers the learner to start taking conversational turns, moving from just receiving language to actually producing it. This aligns with Meryl Swain's comprehensible output idea, The act of trying to produce language, even imperfectly, makes you notice what you don't know and pushes you to refine it.
Interesting. Pushing them to produce, and then they bring in preferences, using that simple yes-no question format. Yes, that's equally deliberate. Daniel asks, do you like learning languages? Emma's answer, yes, I do. I love learning languages. Then she asks back, and you? This exchange specifically targets and reinforces that super common auxiliary verb do for questions, and the core verb like, both absolutely essential for beginners, and that clear yes, I do response. It's a perfect, easy model for affirmative short answers, which can actually be a tricky little point for learners sometimes. So it's building accuracy and confidence in these really frequent basic structures.
And it leads nicely into stating a simple goal. Daniel says, I like it too. I want to speak English fluently.
Right. A concise, aspirational statement skillfully integrates another key verb, want. It's super relatable for anyone learning English, obviously. And it provides a really straightforward sentence structure for learners to talk about their own goals. It connects the abstract idea of learning to a concrete, motivating outcome, fluency.
So if you zoom out, what's the big picture takeaway from this section?
Well, zooming out, these short, clear, structured exchanges, they are the absolute bedrock. They build that core conversational toolkit by hammering away at high-frequency verbs do, like want and essential nouns name languages. The intentional mirroring of questions isn't just for flow, it's a core teaching principle, reinforces understanding and production together. Learners aren't just listening, they're internalizing predictable patterns they can use immediately. This systematic approach builds automaticity with the most common sentence structures really fast. And when those basics become automatic, it frees up mental energy, allows the learner's brain to then focus on trickier vocabulary, nuances, bigger communication goals, instead of getting stuck on basic grammar in every single sentence. It's about giving them real tools for self-expression right from the start, fostering that feeling of, I can actually say something.
Okay, so they've nailed down those foundational introductions and basic questions, solid base. Then the script seems to kind of gently widen the lens a bit, starts exploring more personal topics, but it still keeps it incredibly accessible, doesn't it? It still feels beginner-friendly. How does it manage that? How does it expand the conversation naturally without suddenly making it much harder?
Yeah, this part is a great example of expanding vocabulary by bringing in common daily activities, simple job descriptions. But, and this is key, it rigorously sticks to the simple sentence structures and the present tense they've already established. It's a really natural progression moving from who are you to what do you do, which is just fundamental to how people connect, isn't it? Daniel kicks off this expansion. What do you do in your free time? That's a universal question. Invites personal sharing, but doesn't demand complex language from anyone, speaker or listener.
Right, keeps it simple.
Exactly. And Daniel's answer, I like to read books. I also like to cook and walk in the park. Serves as the perfect model. Introduces 3 common distinct activities. But notice how each bit is short, direct. Simple verb phrase, like to read, like to cook, walk, plus a common noun. Emma's reply does the same thing. I like to listen to music and write in my notebook. Sometimes I go to cafes and relax with P. Follows the exact same pattern. So these examples together, they offer this rich but totally digestible set of words related to hobbies, personal time. For a learner, hearing these simple examples gives them immediate, usable models for talking about their own free time, which is super motivating, right? Talking about yourself. It's about giving them the words to describe their own world.
Yeah, absolutely. Giving them those direct models for things they'll actually want to talk about. And it's not just hobbies, it moves smoothly into work and study too. Emma asks, do you have a job? And then immediately models her own answer. Yes, I work from home. I'm a teacher. Again, clear, concise. Introduces work from home, very relevant now, and a common job title. Shows learners how to describe their own work situation in simple terms.
And Daniel's response, I study and work part-time, broadens that scope even more. Acknowledges, not everyone fits the full-time job mold. Introduces study and part-time naturally within the conversation. And what's really neat here is how it gently connects these daily things back to future goals. Daniel says, I want to travel in the future. That simple sentence does 2 things. 1, it reinforces the I want to structure they learned earlier, making it even stronger. And 2, it introduces this new, exciting, universal topic travel, setting up the next part of the chat.
So it's linking back while also moving forward. Clever.
Yeah, very clever. And analyzing this whole section, the script consistently sticks to present tense simple sentences, avoids complex grammar that could trip up a beginner. The vocabulary they choose, read books, cook, walk in the park, listen to music, write, cafes, tea, work from home, teacher, study, part-time, travel. It's all high-frequency, everyday stuff, things learners will actually use. And the flow between topics feels natural, right? From interests to work study to future dreams, it shows how conversations connect logically. This strategic expansion really boosts the learner's ability to talk about their own life simply and effectively, builds vocabulary and narrative confidence.
Okay, now we get to a really fun part. Travel and food. Universal appeal, right? Everyone loves talking about where they want to go or what they love to eat. It feels like a natural way to connect. So how does the script use these super engaging topics to push the language practice further? Still keeping it simple, but making it, exciting, memorable.
Yeah, this part is brilliant because it taps into the power of concrete, sensory-rich topics. Food and travel. They naturally generate enthusiasm, and that emotional connection makes the language stick so much better. It aids memory. Emma transitions smoothly, asking, where do you want to travel? Which directly follows up on Daniel's earlier comment about wanting to travel, shows that cohesive flow again, listening and responding.
Right, building on what was said before.
Exactly. And Daniel's answer, it's specific and evocative. I want to go to Italy. I want to eat real pizza and pasta.
Yeah.
Using real adds that nice touch of desire, easy for a learner to grasp. It creates this clear, aspirational target, resonates emotionally. That kind of concrete detail helps you picture it, makes the conversation feel more tangible, more relevant, which definitely helps you remember it. It's about linking the language to those vivid mental images.
Totally. I can almost taste the pizza. And Emma's response is so enthusiastic. Oh, yes, Italian food is amazing. Pizza, pasta, gelato. I love it.
Yeah,
That's more than just agreeing, isn't it? It models expressing shared excitement.
exactly. And it shows how to list related words naturally. Pizza, pasta, gelato. Instantly recognizable, globally known words. Perfect for beginners. Ties into the travel theme perfectly. It shows learners how to jump in, build on someone else's excitement, demonstrates that social aspect of language.
Yeah, how to join in enthusiastically.
And then it cleverly drills down into specifics, reinforcing those question-answer patterns again while expanding vocabulary. Daniel asks, do you like spaghetti? Emma, yes. Spaghetti with tomato sauce. So good. And pizza, cheese pizza is my favorite. See? Simple yes, but then add specific details. With tomato sauce, cheese pizza. This empowers learners to express not just like, but specific preferences. A step up in nuance, even with basic language. At Daniel's, me too, and I love lasagna, models agreement, and adds another familiar food word. It just grows organically.
And that ending for the section is just lovely. Let's go to Italy one day. Yes, it's a dream. Creates this shared future hope, a connection between them using really simple, common phrases.
Exactly. It shows how basic language, used with feeling, can still convey strong emotions, shared dreams, build that rapport, shows the potential depth even with limited words.
So the takeaway here is using these appealing topics.
Right, using appealing subjects like food and travel isn't just for fun. It seriously boosts engagement. It provides natural, low-stress ways to practice expressing preferences, desires, and using exclamations like, oh yes, and so good, models that natural conversational energy, the emotion, makes the language feel alive, not just rules on a page. Plus, the concreteness helps memory. You can picture the pizza, the trip, it makes it stick. It's about making learning joyful, emotionally resonant, aspirational, which massively impacts motivation and retention.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
Okay, moving on. It's obviously crucial for learners to feel like they're making progress, right? To connect the dots between the practice and their actual goals. And this script handles that really well, I think. How does it manage to weave in advice about effective learning strategies directly into the conversation without sounding like, a textbook or a lecture? It feels very natural.
Yeah, this segment is really clever because it explicitly talks about learner goals and encourages good learning habits.
Yeah.
Gives that vital sense of direction and self-efficacy. It starts with Emma asking Daniel, what is your goal with English? That's such a direct, relatable question. Every learner thinks about this. Posing it makes the script immediately resonate with the listener's own journey.
Connects it directly to them.
Exactly. And Daniel's answer is clear, concise, aspirational. My goal is to speak fluently. I want to understand movies and talk with people from other countries. This provides great model sentences for learners to talk about their own goals, a template for their why. Plus, it outlines concrete, achievable milestones, understanding movies, talking to people, things that really motivate language learners, not just abstract ideas, but tangible outcomes. Helps them visualize success, connect daily practice to a bigger purpose.
And Emma's response is great too. Very actionable advice. That's a great goal. I think practice is the key every day, a little bit.
Yeah. Right. Not just generic good luck. It distills fundamental learning wisdom.
Yeah.
Practice is the key, memorable, almost like a mantra, nails the core requirement, and every day, a little bit, reinforces that powerful idea of consistency. Small, regular efforts beat sporadic cramming every time. Totally aligns with principles like spaced repetition, habit formation. It's practical, empowering, really encouraging advice, subtly embedding good learning strategies.
And Daniel then lists his own methods.
Yes. And this is insightful because he lists specific, accessible practice methods, validates common, effective strategies learners can actually use. He says, yes, I listen to podcasts, I speak out loud, and I try to think in English. Each one is practical, doable for a beginner. Listen to podcasts, obviously relevant given the source format, creates this neat meta-learning loop. The medium reinforces the message. Speak out loud addresses the vital need for active production, developing that muscle memory for speaking. Getting beyond just passive understanding. And think in English introduces that more advanced but still accessible idea of internalizing the language, fostering deeper immersion. It covers input, output, and internal processing, a really holistic view of good practice.
And Emma's final line in that bit, perfect, that's how you get better. Just simple, positive reinforcement.
Exactly. Direct, affirming. Validates the effort, confirms these strategies work, leads to progress. That kind of consistent, positive feedback is just critical for keeping motivation high, fostering a growth mindset.
So connecting this to learning theory.
Well, this whole section validates the learner's experience, gives actionable, beginner-friendly advice they can use right now. The focus on consistent, small efforts, every day, a little bit, at accessible methods, listening, speaking, reinforces practical application. It's not just about what they're learning in this specific conversation, but how they can keep learning effectively on their own, empowers them, gives them agency over their learning journey, reinforces that progress comes from consistent, manageable actions. It subtly teaches good learning habits just through conversation, modeling the behavior instead of just explaining it. Very effective.
Okay, now let's unpack this next bit because it feels like a really smart strategic move. The script doesn't just wrap up the conversation and say goodbye, it flows right into this immediate structured practice session. That feels like a brilliant way to bridge the gap from listening to actually doing. What's the thinking behind that direct, interactive approach right at the end?
Oh, this is absolutely a critical teaching moment. It explicitly bridges that gap between understanding something and being able to produce it yourself, which is often a huge hurdle, right? It's not just suggesting practice, it's guiding them through it. Active repetition, immediate reinforcement of key phrases, shifts the learner from being passive to being an active participant. Daniel kicks it off really clearly. Let's practice some daily words.
Emma's enthusiastic yes confirms it, signals a clear change in activity, invites the listener to join in, low stakes, sets the expectation.
And they use that say after me technique.
Yeah, the classic listen and repeat, enduringly effective, especially for beginners. Emma leads with those absolute essential phrases. Hello, good morning, how are you? I'm fine, what's your name? And Daniel repeats each one clearly. It's a proven method for nailing pronunciation, getting the intonation right, building that crucial muscle memory for speaking. Having Daniel model the repetition gives the listener a clear example to follow, reduces uncertainty, boosts confidence in trying themselves, turns what could be intimidating into this low-risk, high-reward practice opportunity.
Right there and then, moving from listening input to speaking output, solidifying those new patterns.
So direct, so practical, immediately useful. And then Emma wraps it up with that positive feedback and the rationale. Nice job. These phrases are used every day. Practice them often.
Exactly. It's praise, yes, but it also explains why these specific phrases matter their super high frequency in daily life. And that final instruction, practice them often, provides a clear call to action, reinforces that whole theme of consistent small efforts we talked about, closes the loop. So the power here is in that guided repetition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guided repetition, the listen and repeat model, it's powerful for pronunciation and memory. It's not just about knowing the words, it's about training the physical act of saying them, training your ear. Engages multiple senses, motor skills. And the choice of those specific phrases is key. Hello, good morning, how are you? The absolute must-haves for any first interaction. High frequency, relatively easy to say, immediately useful in tons of situations. This whole segment directly bridges that gap from passive listening to active participation, which is just indispensable for beginners to actually make the language their own. It's like a mini language lab built right into the end of the conversation, offers immediate structured application of everything they just heard, modeled, and discussed, ensures the learning doesn't just stop when the talking stops, but gives tools for ongoing practice.
So what does this all mean? When we put it all together, we've walked through this Fluent flow script from that intentionally warm, anxiety-busting welcome, through the step-by-step building of core conversation pieces, the expansion into relatable topics, and ending with that immediate hands-on practice. And what really stands out, I think, is how every single line, every choice feels so deliberate, meticulously structured, all aimed at building that foundational understanding and confidence for new English learners. It's really not just a chat. It's a masterclass in breaking down a huge, complex skill, speaking a language into these manageable, repeatable, and genuinely empowering steps.
Yeah, and if you connect that journey to the bigger picture, communication, teaching, this deep dive really highlights how true clarity, accessibility, real learner success. It nearly always comes down to intentional, smart design. It's not just about simplifying things randomly or getting lucky. It's about deeply understanding the learner, where they are, what their anxieties might be, their cognitive needs, and then systematically building their skills using predictable patterns, common content, lots of guided practice. It's a powerful reminder that effective teaching isn't always about complex theories. Often it's about incredibly thoughtful, straightforward, human-centered execution, prioritizing the learner's actual experience. It's about building bridges for them, not just pointing at the destination way off in the distance.
Absolutely. Building bridges. I like that. And that leads us nicely to our provocative thought for you listening in. Think about these core principles we've uncovered. Breaking down complexity into simple, repeatable steps. Connecting new stuff to everyday life. Creating a low-anxiety space to learn. How could those principles apply to something you're trying to master right now? Any new skill, any area of knowledge. What kind of beginner scripts, metaphorically speaking, could you maybe design for your own learning journey? How could you structure your approach to make it feel less daunting, more predictable, ultimately just more effective for you? How could you turn those big challenges into achievable steps? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the carefully crafted art of beginner English conversation. We really hope you found it as illuminating and thought-provoking as we did. Keep exploring complex topics and sources with the deep dive for more surprising facts and truly insightful understanding.
And remember, whether it's a language or astrophysics or learning to bake sourdough, consistent, focused practice, even just a little bit every day, that really is the non-negotiable key to unlocking mastery.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.